It's time now for County-Wide, a presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. You'll hear about the interesting issues and happenings that affect all our lives. Here's today's County-Wide.
Good morning and welcome to County-Wide. I'm Brad Miller. We're happy to welcome into studio today Kent Ellsworth is the Executive Director, Verde Valley Caregivers Coalition, and they'll be celebrating their 30 years serving our community coming up in 2023. Is that right? Happy birthday, do we say?
Yes. Well, thank you, Brad, and thank you for having me.
Well, congratulations. Organizations, nonprofits or otherwise, don't hang around for 30 strong years if they're not successful and providing an important service. So we appreciate what you do.
That's right.
Talk to me a little bit about exactly what it is for the uninitiated, you personally and the organization we've chatted with in years past, but it behooves us to explain what the Verde Valley Caregivers really are about at heart.
Mm-hmm. Well, basically, it always goes back to our roots. How did we get started? And roots, we're a grassroots organization. Mm-hmm. We got started because a number of leaders here in the Verde Valley and Sedona area could see that so many older adults who are aging in place, they really want to stay in their community of choice their entire life. Yeah. They don't want to be forced to move to some other place they're uncomfortable with. And so what happens when they can no longer drive their cars, no longer get to the grocery store, no longer get to those important medical appointments? And sometimes those medical appointments are more important as we get older.
You bet.
And so what they did is put together a team of volunteers and started the organization. We're actually formed as a nonprofit in October of 1992.
Okay.
And got started in 1993. So this coming January will be 30 years. Isn't that amazing?
That is. That's terrific.
And so starting small was a good idea. And keeping it going with volunteers from churches and other places around the Verde Valley who would go to an individual's home, pick them up, and take them grocery shopping or to their medical appointments and everything that they needed out there to be able to stay in their home of choice, where they want to live the rest of their lives.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
And that's the core of it.
Okay.
And guess what? We're still at our core. Yeah. We're still in our core, and we've expanded a great deal since then.
Yeah, right. I was going to ask, I know, telemedicine has become a big thing, especially since the pandemic. If that has kind of cut into your, the demand for what you do, if a lot more seniors are able to kind of get those, one-on-one physical visits, of course, are always part of healthcare for anybody. Yes. But has that had any impact at all?
Well, Brad, that's great you brought that up. So we are initiating a very special program. There aren't too many of these like this around the United States yet, but it's a virtual care assistance program using our volunteers, especially our retired medical professional volunteers. We have 15 retired nurses, retired physicians who are volunteers. And we are working out the details of collaboration with Northern Arizona Healthcare and Spectrum Healthcare and Polera Health, all of them, to be able to go out to the home of an individual who just doesn't have the right equipment, the right electronic equipment to connect to Wi-Fi. They probably don't even have Wi-Fi.
Gotcha.
How can they still take advantage of this?
Right.
We will bring that into their home. We'll help them set up that appointment, and we'll make sure that they can stay connected to their healthcare providers. And, one of the things we're seeing, too, is that oftentimes there are fewer specialty providers in the area, and it sometimes takes a while to get an appointment.
Right.
If that appointment is clinically appropriate for a virtual care appointment, why not do that? We'll go out to the home free of charge. We'll set it up. We'll make sure you can stay connected to your healthcare providers.
Isn't it funny how an organization, like you just described in our opening minutes here, will kind of start with one mission, one goal, one aim, fulfill that, and then as you go along, you start to see other areas, and that what you just talked about sounds like a perfect illustration of how you find other demands among the population you serve for valuable services. It always amazes me when people are able to kind of do that and foresee things that are coming and help people who need the help.
Well, thank you, Brad.
Yeah.
Yes, but it's one of the things that we see is that, the environment we're all in, I think everybody out there will agree, it's changing.
Yeah.
And it doesn't always change in ways that we want it to change. But how do we adapt to this? And what kind of strength and power do we have as an organization and as a whole group of communities working together to be able to adapt in a good way to these changes and still make sure nobody's left out, that there is that healthcare equity, that person who does not have or doesn't know how to work that cell phone or doesn't have Wi-Fi, can't get a good signal, how can they still take part in virtual care appointments and make sure they don't keep missing that appointment? That's something that started in COVID. Is that we found that so many people all of a sudden couldn't get to their doctors, not because they didn't have us to give them a ride, but the doctor wasn't available, wasn't making appointments, wasn't seeing people. And when they did, the distance between calling and getting an appointment, the appointment date was pretty long. We've had people have to wait 2 months before they could see their doctor. And that's, when you're 92 years old and you have a couple of chronic health conditions going on, that's not good. So,
Right.
So that getting people connected is the most important thing. And we're actually developing other programs to do that in other ways. And I think it's based on what we saw, the difficult experience of COVID. So we've started social outings too.
Okay.
So we have 3 wheelchair accessible vans and many volunteers, close to 150 volunteer drivers in a given year.
Okay.
So we're taking people out to lunch. We're taking people to a museum, to a special activity now, because being at home and no opportunity to socialize anymore really hurts. Hurts.
Many years ago, I was doing an interview similar to what you and I are doing right now with the director of a Meals on Wheels program. And I didn't really know much more than the name of it and what it was. Okay, you deliver, meals to elderly folks or shut-ins or things like that. And to me, in my mind, I just wasn't giving it enough thought. I thought it was like a pizza delivery guy. Here it is at the door, and then she explained, no. It's really about the socialization. We'll go in, we'll make the delivery, but then we'll chat. We'll observe, are the conditions in the home sanitary with folks? Sometimes that doesn't happen. Are they doing, and it just hit me like a ton of bricks that it's so much bigger than really what you might think at just a glance. And I'm getting the exact same feeling today chatting with you about the Verde Valley Caregivers. Seems very similar to me.
Yes, and it is too. But it's a fascinating thing to me to see our population, and guess what? Older adults will comprise a much bigger percentage of our population
a lot of
than we do
retirees
now.
Here. Sure,
So,
you betcha.
as this grows, how are we as a community for taking care of each other? We're not going to wait until there's some government program or something like that to take this up for us. This is our responsibility. Right. This is our community. Let's all roll up our sleeves, pitch in, and make a difference. And that's what our volunteers do.
A lot of times, a decade, maybe a generation, maybe even 2 generations ago, a lot of programs similar to what you're talking about and working with kind of came oftentimes through the churches, didn't they?
Yes,
and
that's great.
Not as prevalent today. Is that correct to say?
Well, that's how Verde Valley Caregivers got started, with about 6 different congregations around the Verde Valley area working together. And we still rely on volunteers who come from churches, hear about us, and know that our missions are very similar.
Okay.
And so let's get busy. And so that really does help a lot. But it has to spread beyond that, of course. Yeah. It has to spread to everybody. Anybody that really cares about their community and how we grow together needs to actually see what it is they can do to make a difference. Right. How can they make a difference? It's not just about paying your sales taxes and this and that and the other, although, of course, that all helps. Yeah. But it is about rolling up your sleeves and taking part. And so anyway, taking part this way makes a gigantic difference for so many people. We help 1,900 people or more every year.
Wow.
And since in this last 30 years of our work, we've helped well over 20,000 individuals. So that's a lot of work. It makes a gigantic difference, though, for people. They just see their smile when we walk through the door.
You bet. Reward.
To provide friendly visitation, to provide assistance so they can learn how to use that smartphone that their adult child mailed to them for Christmas. Well, what is this?
No idea. Box? It's out of the box. Now what happens?
Yeah.
Let's do this. We do need to take, we do need to take a short break, and when we come back, we'll chat more with Kent Ellsworth. And I do want to talk about, if there's going to be folks listening right now who become interested, you're making a good pitch here today. And I know groups like yours are always kind of looking for volunteers. I'd like to chat about that and some more things. About the Verde Valley Caregivers Coalition. Executive Director Kent Ellsworth is in studio, and it's countywide. Back right after this.
Your neighborhood Jackson Hewitt Tax Service for over 25 years and continues to serve the communities in northern Arizona. Jackson Hewitt is here to help you file your personal taxes. As laws and situations change, your local Jackson Hewitt Tax Service professional stays updated to serve you. Drop off or make an in-person appointment. In Flagstaff, call 213-8626. That's 213-8626. That's 213-8626.
The award-winning experts at Verde Solar Services offer the trusted carrier products that help you customize a solution to fit your budget. Verde Solar is a family-owned business serving the Verde Valley for 38 years with the carrier products you can rely on. Carrier AC systems are trusted to bring energy-efficient, quiet, consistent comfort. Call 928-567-5315 for a free assessment of your AC and air quality needs. Verde Solar Services, online at verdesolar.com, a factory-authorized carrier dealer.
Don't let concerns about today's events derail your long-term financial strategy. Hi, I'm Edward Jones Financial Advisor, Matthias Sandoval, and I'm here to help. We can work together to understand the impact of these events and make sure your goals are top of mind. While you can't control the market volatility, we'll focus on what you can control. We can connect in several virtual ways. Start by giving me a call at 634-1044.
Edward Jones, Making Sense of Investing. Member SIPC.
Welcome back to the program. Again, countywide today, Kent Ellsworth, Executive Director, Verde Valley Caregivers Coalition, into their 30th year servicing Verde Valley, Sedona areas, and so many folks who very much need the provisions that your group can bring to us. We'll talk a bit about volunteers and resources and things like that. I was surprised already at some of the things. You know, you think about the caregivers. I've heard of you. I've seen you giving rides to folks and those kinds of things. That's the core. That's how it started, but it's already grown, as you described in our first segment. Are there other services or things that you're doing or that'll be new, say, in the new year?
Yes, Brad. Several things that we've started in just months past since COVID. But one of the things that we've done for the last 5 years or so is pet assistance. So we found that so often we find that individuals who are living alone, let's say they're in the mid to upper 80s, their spouse has passed away, their best friend in the world is their little dog.
Sure.
Or their cat.
Mm-hmm.
Their pet is important to them, really. And at some point, many people actually are having a financial struggle as well. So should they give up that pet? No. Call us instead. We will help. So we help people who are low income purchase dog food, get veterinarian treatments for their pet, board them when they go to the hospital, all of that. We even have some dog walkers. So when a person is really, they're challenged very much so with their mobility, and they need to get that dog out. So we'll send a dog walker out there. So we have volunteers, and of course we cover some of the expenses through not only individual donor gifts, but also foundations that contribute for that specific program.
Sure. And is this another, it seems like clearly as you've moved along and through those 30 years, demand has driven the foundation of some of these different kinds of services, I assume.
So basically, our pattern, Brad, is that we observe what is the lived life of the people we're serving. Mm-hmm. What is their lived life like? And what matters most to them? So we've crafted all sorts of new programs based on our observation of what really matters most. Yeah. And so that's why we've started social outings, pet assistance, We've had the emergency alert units available for quite a number of years, almost all of our 30 years. And we have a new unit that we found that we'll purchase, and we install those free of charge for people who are low income. And so that way they can push a button and call 911 directly.
Okay.
It's not a monthly subscription. It belongs to them, and they can keep it, and it will work wherever they go, so long as there's cell phone towers somewhere nearby.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's an important thing. And I think the other important things are things like, grocery shopping, care coordination. So that's our care coordinators. We have volunteers plus a paid staff person who goes out to the home, and they're very skilled in their observation, their situational awareness, and able to spot different things that we could do or referrals we could make to help make their lives better. And so that is an important thing. We need to see, and we also need to ask, what matters most to you, and how can we help? That's so important.
Let me back you up a tiny bit into the home, like observing, like grooming, things like that. I'm not clear.
Well, it's observing. Sometimes what we see is people just don't get enough nutrients, or maybe they're even. So how about we can help you with grocery shopping? We can go to the food bank and pick up a food box for you to supplement your nutrition, and we can help get you on Meals on Wheels. All those different things. So a lot of people at some point in their life, really with chronic health conditions and mobility issues, it's kind of a challenge to cook their own meals.
Right.
So what do we need to do? We have many people who like to have frozen meals, good nutritious frozen meals, and they put up together a shopping list, and we'll go out and shop for that. In some rare cases, we actually have to purchase the food for people who really don't have anything at all.
Right.
And but I think it's important for people to remember that, our qualifications for signing up as a client for Verde Valley Caregivers is that the individual can no longer drive due to health conditions.
Right. It starts there.
That's where it starts.
Yeah.
In other words, their health conditions are so severe that their mobility is challenged. They can no longer drive. They really, we can probably see people like that on the road today, and we think, hey, you need to call Verde Valley Caregivers, and that's true.
My parents are well into their 70s. They both have chronic problems, and my dad has stopped driving. This can be, as you know, with your experience, anyone with an elderly parent, the loss of that freedom, that driving, that independence is extraordinary, not just because of you can't go and do your things, but psychologically, that something that my dad was doing since he was 12 years old, he really can't safely do anymore. And in your mind, that hurts. It stings.
It does. Giving up that level of independence, spontaneous independence, is really, really tough. But at the same time, people could call us once they get signed up. Just give us a call. Give us some notice. We're usually pretty booked up almost every day. Typically, on a typical day like today, or any day, we have 30 to 40 volunteer vehicles on the road and 3 of our wheelchair accessible vans on the road simultaneously.
Okay. Can I ask you something? I want to assure our listeners we're going to talk about volunteerism and the important phone numbers that you're mentioning now and how to get in touch. Do you ever, I'm sorry I've brought my personal thing into this, but it's sparking questions for what your group does. My dad would never call you, ever. Do you get folks like me, adult children, say, that live out of town or even who call on the parents' behalf?
Yes, very often. I would say that's a good 30 to 40% of our referrals come from adult children living out of state.
Sure.
And so how we handle that is we take the phone call, then we call that individual.
Gotcha.
And we talk to them on the phone and go through a little questionnaire. And then we send our care coordinator out to the home to do a home visit to help assure them that this is okay.
Right.
If we're lucky, we'll all be able to go through this stage in our lives.
Right.
Because that means we're living a long, long life, which is good.
Right.
But the community is still here still here to help you when you can't drive.
And what a community it is. The Verde Valley Caregivers Coalition into their 30th year coming up. We'll have a few short minutes when we come back with Executive Director Kent Ellsworth, and you bet we'll tell you how to make the connection, how to make the call for yourself or on a parent or a loved one's behalf. Verde Valley Caregivers on Countywide, back right after this.
Life changes, then it changes again. Predicting the unexpected in life is impossible. That's why it's called unexpected. So when it comes to financial goals, our philosophy is don't predict, prepare. Hi, I'm Edward Jones financial advisor Matthias Sandoval. A job loss, change in health, or a loss of a loved one can have a big impact on your family's financial security. Let's work together to help make sure you're equipped for life's unexpected events. Call our office to schedule a face-to-face appointment.
Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Member SIPC.
Verde Solar, your hometown heating, air conditioning, and plumbing company in the Verde Valley for 38 years, and your trusted North Central Arizona Goodman dealer. Goodman is a name you can trust, designed, engineered, and built in the USA. Verde Solar offers free in-home estimates on systems that are quiet and affordable. Verde Solar is locally owned since 1983 and available for all your heating, air conditioning, and plumbing needs. Call 928-567-5315. Visit them online at verdesolaire.com. Better, cleaner, faster.
Taxes.
It's that time again. This is Lewis with Rice Accounting Jackson Hewitt Tax Service. We don't sell cars, we don't do hair or wait tables. We do taxes. At Jackson Hewitt Tax Service, we talk taxes and we prepare taxes. Open year-round for tax filings. Jackson Hewitt Tax Service, located throughout northern Arizona. For over 20 years, our local preparers have helped neighbors pay their fair share and no more.
Jackson Hewitt Tax Service in the Tri-Cities at 772-7872. That's 772-7872.
Welcome back. Our final segment, Countywide. Kent Ellsworth is the Executive Director of the Verde Valley Caregivers Coalition, and what an organization you have, sir. Let's get the phone number and or website. If I'm listening to the show and I think, wow, I need to make the call, how do I get in touch with you?
Yes. If you need to reach us, or if you know of someone who needs to be using our services, call Verde Valley Caregivers at 928-204-1238. And you can look at our website, too, at www.vvcaregivers.org.
Okay. I took a look there yesterday. It's easy to navigate. Yes. Great information right up front to help you get connected. Again, the phone number is 928-204-1238. vvcaregivers.org is the website. If some folks are listening and think, wow, I can kind of help out, how do I start the process for volunteering my time?
Hey, we need you. We really do. In fact, we need to bring on at least 50 more new volunteers in 2023. And all you have to do is call us or go to our website. We have the volunteer application form available on our website. You can fill it out. Call me. And what we can do is have you come to our office, and we'll go through the orientation and training, and we'll talk about all the different possibilities of what you can do and what you really want to do.
Right.
And your time is still your own. We don't have you on a fixed schedule. Basically, we'll know what it is you want to do, and when that kind of request comes up, we give you a call and ask you, we have this trip for Sally coming up on next Monday. Right. Would you be available to do that? Sure. And you can say yes or no. That's okay. And so it's really open. We definitely respect our volunteers, and you probably can guess that many of them go away during the summer months and come back in the winter. That's all okay too.
Right.
And so it makes it easy to volunteer, but wait till you can see what a difference you can make.
Yeah.
In this community.
There's a feeling that comes with volunteering and helping out and seeing the satisfaction and the accomplishment of doing things like that, helping your neighbors.
And it's immediate.
Terrific.
Yes.
Yeah, right that minute. Well, what a great organization. 30 years coming up, a 30th anniversary to be celebrated by the Verde Valley Caregivers Coalition in 2023. Again, you don't have that kind of longevity without doing something very, very well. So thank you, Kent Ellsworth, Executive Director, vvcaregivers.org. The phone number is 928-204-1238. It's countywide, and we'll see you next time.
This has been Countywide. Listen in each Tuesday and Thursday at this time. If you have a topic or guest idea that you'd like to suggest, email us, news@myradioplace.com.